Pew, pew, pew. Music to my ears. That's right. Today's video is all about those Lazortrons. And of course, it's a little bit late. I probably should at least put out one other video this week, but I felt it wrong not to show off these beautiful, magical laser tanks. Because as you guys know, we love our beam troops, and this is actually the first time we had the chance to use Lazortrons 2 in one boat. The last time they came out was, I believe, February of last year, and I was still a lowly sub 24 headquarters. Don't ask me what actually level I was. It was probably like 10, 11, maybe 12, something like that. Either way, I felt like it was only important for us to take a look at this beautiful, wonderful troop and kind of some myths and truths about Lazortrons, as well as showing them off, because I feel like they get a little bit of a bad rep. Honestly, a lot of people say they're really not that strong, and I am here to show you that they are pretty darn good. Now, mind you, they're no melon bombardiers. I don't think anything ever will be, and they're slightly different from your usual rainmakers, but it does not mean they are bad. Like anything in this world, they have a niche, and today we're showing them off. But first, we got to show some other stuff off. Kind of want to show the difference between these and Laser Rangers. First, going over kind of the range that both of them do. Now, the data is scientific. Now, is it scientifically accurate? That's a whole different story, but as you can see here, the Laser Rangers can hit up to what looks like 6 buildings, maybe 5.5. Going from that boom cannon all the way to the gold source, if you want to call it. So, pretty decent amount of damage. Now, the Lazortrons, much like Laser Rangers, do much more damage to the buildings behind it rather than the initial building itself. So, showing off kind of the damage that Laser Rangers do. They do decent damage, but honestly, I think the damage that comes from Lazortrons is just kind of ridiculous, to be honest. As you can see, almost two-shotting that gold production building and getting rid of that machine gun right away. Now, mind you, in a perfect scenario, you won't have one Laser Ranger and one Lazortron, and I think probably from a troop to unit storage capacity, Lazortrons probably fare pretty well. But it just goes to show you don't need a whole lot of Lazortrons to get a very similar type thing. And kind of, I wanted to do a little bit of a test here, because it feels like the initial damage that Laser Rangers do is slightly higher on the building compared to that of Lazortrons. Sort of hard for me to test. I'm sure the DPS could probably speak for it a little bit, but kind of my way of showing how it is. Now, Lazortrons have a stupid amount of DPS on the screen itself. I think it's marked somewhere around 1200 or something like that. The layman terms for that is most of the DPS that you're seeing is from those collateral buildings, not from the initial 1 or 2. Those 3rd or 4th buildings back take a ton more damage, showing off that that level 10 shock launcher gets defeated pretty easily, and that thing's got 16,000 health, something along those lines. So, but yeah, I kind of wanted to show that off. I also wanted to show off a little bit more. Oop, I guess that doesn't happen there. Oh, it's going to happen right here. We're going to show off kind of the range, because I think that's the other thing that people take for granted from the Lazortrons. They have quite a bit more range than that of Laser Rangers. Now, Laser Rangers have a long range, just about the same as Zookas, more or less, while your Lazortrons are looking more like Bombardier type range. So that means they can pretty much outrange anything that isn't a boom cannon, a rocket launcher, a shock launcher, and some prototype defenses, which is kind of what we're showing off in this clip, just to show that they do exactly that. That Lazortron is the same distance away from those buildings as the Bombardier. The difference being is Lazortrons can't cluster up quite as much as Bombardiers can, or other troops. So, like any of those troops that can't, they do sometimes step into the dangerous defenses, but hopefully that kind of explains a little bit more about them. They are still a buttload of fun. They do all kinds of crazy things. As you're going to see as we take on Dr. T, we want to do all kinds of destruction. And in these later stages, we're dropping them right at the beach, so they can wipe out a whole island of defenses. Now, I will say Lazortrons, even though they look like tanks, really are not tanky. They definitely need some type of tank support, whether that's just Private Bullet by himself or a Scorcher or a couple boats of mechs. So keep that in mind. I definitely wouldn't recommend just bringing them all in by themselves with Kavan or Brick or something like that. They are not going to survive a hit from pretty much anything that's like level 10 or above, at least your single point target stuff. And if there's 2 or 3 rocket launchers, that flurry or 2 is just going to take them out as well. So that's why I say be very careful. They are not a tanking troop, but once you put a tanking troop in front of them, they do exactly what they need to do and can get the job done. As you can see here, the distance also plays pretty well. So if you guys enjoy the truth about Lazortrons as well as the video, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those bell notifications. I know a lot of people in some of my previous streams said that they never get a notification. That's because notifications through YouTube are automatic, based on personalized choice or whatever that means. Make sure you turn on those bell notifications to all if you want to see all of the shenanigans on the channel, including Boom Beach, Clash of Clans, and any other shenanigans we get into, including variety, of course, co-op and all that stuff. I know a lot of people have been asking. There will be a poll on the channel here soon, once the missus and I kind of figure out the games that we want to put in the voting poll, so stay tuned for that, of course. And here, I think we just accidentally dropped Scorchers. Honestly, on Dr. T particularly, Bullet can work just fine as the tanking troop. You just kind of have to watch the slight loners that sometimes go off and do their own little thing, so, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And honestly, you guys know how it goes. Dr. T is kind of a simple thing for us, but I think it's a decent way of showing kind of the strength and power that they do. Now, mind you, we will be hitting at least a player base or 2 by the end of this video, and a little treat for you all. Like I said, I know the video's a little bit long, but that's because we had to cram in both the myths and tricks to Lazortrons, as well as some beautiful hits showing them off. And there we go, starting from stage 5 and going on from here, we're dropping, as I said, right at the beach, and we're going to let them kind of go. Maybe an artillery or barrage if necessary, a shock if they're within range of a boom cannon or some of those scary defenses. We're going to just kind of show off how strong they are and how much they can clear out a base. Like I said, they aren't the most DPS in the game, but they definitely can get the job done. The nice thing about them too, differently from other troops, is that they can clear out mines. Now, that only happens on the secondary hit of the laser, which basically means if there's a mine in front of a defense, it's not going to destroy that. If there's mines behind a defense, it will destroy those. The hitbox, of course, is pretty linear and somewhat thin, so it can be a little bit hard to snipe those mines, but it is nice nonetheless, especially if you want to use them kind of as a support-ish damage troop to maybe clear some of those mines for your Zukas or Bombardiers or stuff like that. So I can't complain too much about them. They do a wonderful job. Stage 5 down, no problem at all. And I think at some point, oh, I think it's later. It's fine. We'll talk about it later when it comes. Here we go, into stage 6 now. And while that hit's going on, as you guys already know, we're going from the beach. We got to talk about it because, of course, we are not a warships player, but we must talk about the warships. I got to 16 on both accounts, offensive and defensive. We did go to 4 ER on both. The plan is one of them's actually, or maybe both. I think both of them are sitting right on the cusp of 5 ER, so eventually we'll go to that. We're probably just going to do some key saving right now. Like I said, the passive pretty much stayed the same. One goes offense, the other goes defense. They have a lot of similar node choices. Not node choices. The nodes unlocked, but as far as the actual choices within the nodes, those are of course going to be differently. So that's the thing that I think is going to be kind of interesting and show off. Just kind of... Oh. Sorry about that, some technical difficulties that I'll have to deal with after post-editing, but as I was saying, different choices within the nodes. So of course we went more defensively with our multi-nodes for one account and more offensively for the other one, but they do have somewhat similar troops, I suppose. We did still run very much the warriors on one account, although that'll probably switch to like some heavy Zukas, and then the other account will probably continue with that rifle Zuka grenadiers, which has been working pretty well. So we'll see if we can manage to push a little bit more. Like I said, right now is the key collecting. I've been enjoying the season though. Hopefully you guys have been. I like the fact that you can kind of choose it. Now, of course, there's a meta way of going. I'm sure people have been switching nodes like crazy and finding different ways to utilize those nodes, but I enjoyed the prospect of getting to choose between offense and defense. As you guys know, on this channel, we are extremely offensive based. Oh my gosh. Hopefully that doesn't mess up anything. We are definitely going through some technical difficulties. Hopefully it all gets fixed out. I'm really not in the mood to re-record this, but we'll see how that works out. You don't always get what you want, I suppose. Here's that prime example of that rocket launcher. As you can see, it did some decent poke damage. Now, mind you, it wasn't a max rocket launcher, but it was iced up. And honestly, if there was like a second or third one, it probably could have took out all of those left side Lazortrons. So that's why I say it's so very important to have a tank troop in front of these guys. But once they have that tank troop and they kind of get their free realm, they do a wonderful job. It's actually really good if there's a defense in front of those boom cannons. That way they can outrange and more than likely kill the boom cannon even before it gets a chance to hit. So the only other minor thing, of course, is to watch out for the couple boom mines and the mines if there's a good pile of them. But besides that, as you can see, they just clear the place and make it look far too easy. I don't know why people complain so much. I think they're a fantastic troop, and I think it probably mostly relates to the fact that you get 2 in a boat, but we did use some singles in our boats in the alt account. Oh, this is the thing that I wanted to talk about. So the interesting part about this is because they can clear mines, that means that they do collateral damage. I don't know how this would ever happen when you're actually doing this, but it just goes to show that you have to be careful with them. If there are troops in front of them behind other defenses, they can kill them. So keep that in mind if you decide to use them. And here we are going into some player-based attacks, more so resources. Huge shout out to this OG Mohammed over here for doing the awesome thing by putting the headquarters, because it's always best for everybody since the chest changed to the hourly system to swap resource bases back and forth. That way everybody wins. If you're not doing it, like these schnubs over here, you're terrible. And I'm still gonna take my base back. But that's beside the point, I suppose. A lot of these guys are actually attacking me right now because the Lazortrons are out. And they have some fancy attack strats, but even once these are gone, we will have no problem clearing any base, unboost it, because no matter what, you always have warriors that can just simply run to the headquarters and snipe it. Which is very much different from that experience of Clash of Clans. As you guys know, we have started playing that, so. And actually, you guys made it this far in the video. Let me know if you guys would be interested in a differences or maybe similarities between Clash of Clans and Boom Beach. I'm kind of excited to do that. I think there's a lot of good things from both, and I think that finding out the differences between the two can maybe make both games great in different aspects, and maybe they can take from each other the experiences, so to say. But I'm enjoying both. Like I said, they have different aspects of the game. There are certain things that I think Boom Beach do better than Clash, and likewise vice versa to Clash. The recording sound a little bit off. That's because we had to, of course, restart a secondary recording, unfortunately. All good though. We'll figure that all out. But I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, similarities and differences between Clash of Clans and Boom Beach. Yeah, I really want to do some videos on that, so stay tuned for that. I'm trying to get some of that, like I said, different content, but that also meshes the two together. as always, as I've always said, we want to make this channel a variety channel and somewhat different from what you see. Like I said, it's all fun and games and super easy to just do Let's Plays and all that stuff, but I think some of the best audience engagement can always be from those videos that are thought-provoking, I guess, in a sense, is what we'll call it. I don't know if that's the right word, but here's another base. Mr. Junie and I have kind of been at odds with each other for a minute, always causing the attacks between each other, and this is no different. We'll eventually get to a point where maybe we come to a consensus to put that headquarters on the beach, but we'll see. There it is, our decent player base, hopefully. And kind of just showing off the strength. Like I said, we're not going to drop our tank troops in this hit, or at least we're going to try not to. And as long as Bullet kind of stays in the proper place, we're going to be able to show just how strong these guys can do. Now mind you, this base has 2 ice statues, nothing crazy, but it is still ice regardless of that, so. And they've done a very good job at clearing some of those scattered mines, as well as the first few defenses without losing any of our stuff. Now, prime example, of course, is those few left side Lazortrons. We want to make sure we keep safe by shocking the boom cannons. Scariest part of it, but once those get shocked and distracted by Bullet, hopefully, we don't have to worry so much. And this is perfect example of keeping Bullet in front of those Lazortrons and showing just how strong they are when they can kind of do their thing. Just slowly chipping away at this. There it is. Boom. Easy to the point. We love that. And of course, to finish it off, we wanted to show, we haven't showed it in a while, but I wanted to show you guys an operation hit using these bad boys. We didn't use them too much this week, I don't think, in operations, mostly because we play a lot of AZ stuff, but every now and again we get a little brute force in there, so it's going to be a prime example of just how well they do. Starting off, of course, by getting Bullet in the middle of those rocket launchers, because those things are the scariest part for our Lazortrons. Once they get distracted by Bullet's taunt, they can kind of do their thing. But that is a perfect example. That 2 volleys of rockets just almost decimated 3 or 4 of those Lazortrons. Luckily, Bullet's ability popped fast enough where they were saved, luckily. Now, mind you, these defenses have like 80,000, 90,000, maybe 100,000 health. So it's definitely not easy for them to burn through, but they can make it happen. And they can clear out quite a lot of junk, especially some of those defenses in the back. As you can see, those shock launchers are pretty hurt. And now it's just a matter of time before they fall. I've seen some amazing attacks with these, like some red line openings and some other openings with some other bases that are very linear. This base was okay for it. I'm sure there was other bases that can be a little bit better, and like I said, hopefully in the future when they come back we'll show some cooler hits with these. Maybe next time they come around we're going to do a Lazortron only operation. I think that'd be a lot of fun, kind of showing off just how well they do, or maybe an opening. I don't know, we'll think of ideas on it, but trying to make this happen. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of stuff that needs to be done. Anyway. But yeah, here we go. Pushing through this. Now, Bullet's almost dead. We're losing our Scorcher here. But luckily for us, they do a good amount of damage on those boom cannons before they get in range, which is exactly what we needed from them. So, having that initial, I think it was a, maybe it was a defense. I think it was a critter launcher. Whatever defense it was that was in front that allowed them to anchor and then do that collateral damage in the back was super huge, because as we know, damage is mostly done to the buildings behind them, not in front. So, and we are slowly coming to the end of this. We're gonna get this last little cluster down, and eventually those rocket launchers are going to start pinging and messing us up. We have no more tank units, so you're going to see just how quickly they get melted, even by something like rocket launchers. So, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, had fun with them. Hopefully we can do more videos with them in the future. And like I said, as always, I am the resident troll of the underworld, the casual player's player, the David to Max Player's Goliath, Dark Anubis, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace!